The top performers are proudly sponsored by Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Here are your top performers from round number 8, the Rivals round of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer this week, getting himself off the mark for the Catalan Dragons with a brilliant hat-trick, was Tommy Makinson. The most try assists has he finally landed in Super League, Luke Keary with 3 for the Catalan Dragons. Whilst the most meters made came from Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 268. The most clean breaks came from Tiaki Chan of the top of the Red Devils, Matt Duffy, Warrington Wolves, Mikey Lewis, Olakar, and Lachlan Miller of the Leeds Rhinos. They each got 2. Whilst the most tackle bust came from Tiaki Chan of the top of the Red Devils and Lachlan Miller of the Leeds Rhinos with 8. The most hard meters made, you've got to be a prop forward, second row release forward in this one, was Julien Busquet of the Catalan Dragons, 141. Whilst the most tackles came from the Lee Leopards, Robbie Mulhern with 56. And finally, the best goal kickers of the round, well, it was Aspiro Boucher of the Catalan Dragons, 5 from 7. These were your top performers from round number 8. This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington Wolves match days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. So good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. Not quite sure why the screen looks like that. There you go, that's a bit better. Good evening, one and all, and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly and a week where quite a lot has happened. Sam Burgess quite short in press conferences, feeling the heat, and my lord, did we get pressures with rose-tinted glasses this week around the grounds. My good Lord. Anyway, we'll get into all of that as the night unfolds. As always, with us is Mr. Nixon, Mr. Scholes, and Mr. Sale. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening indeed. Action for Alfie, of course. We're still supporting Action for Alfie. Not a chance to look at what the latest amount is, but hopefully I think it's over 600 quid now, which is great. So we're still moving in the right direction. All the details you need to donate for Action for Alfie is in the comments of what you're watching now. And it's fair to say that young Alfie dominated the titles, Reggie.
Certainly did, mate. Well, lovely young kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pleasure to meet him outside the game on on Saturday. Lovely family, lovely kid. Let's do all we can to help him out.
Absolutely. Was that the first time you'd met him as well, Steph?
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was a pleasure. It was great to meet Kieran and the family as well. So and hopefully we'll be seeing plenty more of them over the course of the season.
Well, absolutely. And Kieran, if you're watching, I will be giving you a call tomorrow. Tickets in the bag, sir. I've tried to do my best in terms of access and everything, but we'll discuss that in great detail tomorrow when I give you a call. Fantastic stuff, gentlemen. Fantastic stuff. Right. Well, what we're going to do, where we're going to go. What are we going to say? Oh, yeah, just a quick note to Steve Devlin. Steve Devlin on St. Helens Facebook page. We've not put it in, give you had a wobble. Steve, this is for you. Steve said, looks like Sailor needs a few weeks playing in the A team. Well, Wellens couldn't find them and no one else can help, mate. You stuck with him. Just had to get that one in. A little bit of 80s nostalgia at the start of the show. But anyway, lots of news to get through. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Let's go to their first and foremost. Oh, Penthorn. That's a new one. Good evening to Penthorn. Team Massa. Evening from the Leopards in St. Helens. Good to see you. Nick Young with us as well. A few different names in there, but Nige Bennett, Greg Roach, Dave Carroll, Dawn Kirkby, Craig Forth. Yeah, they're all in there. Fantastic stuff. Right, we've got to get some news done. Here we go. Banging or hanging? Yes, banging or hanging, of course. It's the only way that Super League Raw do it. I mean, I think Joel went first last week. So Mr. Nixon, I'll allow you go first this week. So we'll get rid of Joel and we'll get rid of Steph and we'll bring Reggie in. Reggie, we'll start here. Rivals round, record attendance, 86,080. Rugby League on the up. Time for the broadcasters to realise the possibilities of the game.
I certainly think so. Fantastic. You know, the whole crowd, the Wigan crowd, great crowd at Lee. Yeah, I think, you know, they have to sit up, take a notice of this now. And, you know, the TV viewing figures for our game against Lee on Saturday weren't too bad either. So, you know, that the numbers are growing. You know, people are saying that the sport is not doing well. Clearly don't see these figures. I think this is fantastic. And the thing now is for us to keep this up and to keep those crowds up. You know, we've had 2 Hull derbies, 2 sellouts. We need that to continue. We really do. And brilliant to see. Absolutely brilliant to see.
Yes, Matty Timms, no, mate, because remember, Steph sold a house last week. You're on 675, mate, albeit that will be late to donation when money hits the pot, mate, but you're certainly on £675 for young Alfie. Well done, Greg. Fantastic contribution. Speaking of Mr. Sale, let's bring the man in. Mr. Sale, time for a whip round. I mean, I know things are bad at Saints, but this is drastic, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And like we mentioned about Sailor, I think he needs time. You've changed his position, and he didn't have the greatest of games against Wigan. But they need to, if they're going to go with that, you can't just be a week by week thing. They've got to stick with it for a few weeks to try and get that bedded in. And as for, you know, Lomax, I don't know where this has come from. It's probably, I'm assuming it's some Saints fan that's done it. The only one there that I could get on board with is Conrad Hurrell, because obviously they've loaned him out to Halifax, I think it was. He's playing at the minute. So a bit hanging for me from the Saints fan. Give him a chance.
That goes for Harvest Day. It's a disgrace to put Johnny Lomax on that poster. Deary me, a man that has put so much into that Medv. They should be ashamed of themselves. As for Tristan, let's all have a whip round. Anyway, moving swiftly on, let's get Mr. Scholes in. Joel, we know that you like the amateur game, and it's happening. Oh, yes, Academy Origin kicks off 12 noon, 10th of May in Castleford. Some wonderful talent on show, my friend, and it will be shown on the Rugby Football League's YouTube channel. See tomorrow's talent today. Great for the game, this.
Absolutely banging, yeah. It's great. It's what we've been calling out for. Of course, we'd like it at the very top level, but I guess this is a good taster. See how it goes. If there's a bit of a crowd there, which I'm sure there will be, because when you've got counties going at it like that, I think it's always in for a bit of biff. So it's going to be good. See what the young talent are of tomorrow. And let's hope it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, Harry Smith playing for Yorkshire squad. Hey, you'd have thought that. Obviously, it's not the real Harry Smith, but some great players there. The Kent boys, of course, playing for the Yorkshire side. And let me tell you right now, keep an eye out for young Finley. Finley's been picked. Flynn Holden. Flynn Holden. I'm looking at Finley Yeomans at the bottom. But yeah, Flynn Holden, Warrington Wolves player, fullback, absolutely incredible. If you've not seen him yet, maybe catch him on the 10th of May. I think he's a shoo-in for a starting position. He has been very good indeed. Right, we get rid of Mr. Scholes. We bring back Mr. Nixon. Greg.
Yes.
All KR pretty much confirmed for 2026 in Vegas. The three that are trying to play them, FC, Saints, and the Leeds Rhinos. Wouldn't it be lovely to see a Hull derby in Vegas?
I think a Hull derby in Vegas would be banging. Absolutely banging. A Rhinos St Helens game would be banging too. In fact, 2 games there would be even more banging, if that's a phrase. But I would love to see Hull KR, Hull FC in Vegas. I think, what they've served up over the last 2 games, the crowd-wise, the atmosphere-wise, the rivalry-wise, the skills on show-wise, especially the game on Friday. I think, let's go for it. Let's have a Hull derby in Vegas. Let's have all 4 teams there. Let's make it a real great weekend for Super League.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It would appear that you're looking at the 4 teams that are going to be involved in the next 2 years.
I think that's the rumour, yeah. And I think I heard it was Hull KR, either Hull KR and Rhinos or Hull KR Saints. So, but I'd love to see a Hull derby.
Absolutely. Absolutely, that would be marvellous, wouldn't it? Absolutely marvellous, especially the way that they're playing this season. Right, goodbye to Mr. Nixon. Hello to Mr. Sale. The checkbook's out at Lee. Go on then, Mr. Sale. What are you making your new leopard cub?
Well, time will tell. I think the encouraging thing for people who don't know who this guy is, seasoned NRL player, Trent Season's only 29 years old. So for a prop in his prime form, started off at Brisbane, over 100 appearances for them, made 3 State of Origin appearances in his time there. Then moved to West Tigers, was the Player of the Year in 2023, and then went to Parramatta, where we've signed him from. Signed on a 3.5-year deal. And for people who don't know the size of the man, he's the same size, if not a little bit taller, than Herman Essa. So that's the kind of caliber of player that they've signed, and obviously really encouraging from a league point of view that it's on a 3.5-year deal. So even at the end of that, he's only going to be 34 years old, which it's rather than signing someone at the end of like a JWH, this is someone who should be in his pomp. So really exciting signing for the Leopards. Hopefully it should be banging, but it's up to him now to come and prove himself in Super League.
It most certainly is, and let's not forget a 91.2% tackle efficiency. The boy can put a shot on. Right, let's get back to who's next. It's Joel. Joel's coming back. Joel, sir. What do you make of this? Kristen Wade signing for Wigan, and then Martin Afire comes out with the quote that he's the biggest coup in rugby league since the 1980s, Jonathan Davis. Do you agree with Martin?
I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll know in time, won't we? I think switching codes, it's a difficult one. I don't know. You can be great in one sport, but this is a total different sport altogether. And it's either going to be a massive hit or it's either going to be banging or hanging. And then we're going to find out, I guess, aren't we?
Well, the boy's talented. There's no doubt about that. But I think to put that accolade on him is a bit big. Maybe the boys will have a little say when we all get back together again in a minute. But anyway, I think he is a banger. I think he's got plenty of potential. But Martin, lad, I think you need to steady on there, sir. Really, really steady on is what I would say. Right, okay, we now come back to Mr. Nixon. Greg, if you've not seen it, The Bench, great episode of The Bench with Mikey Lewis. He has a dream. He wants to go to the NRL.
Yeah, and who's to say he can't be a massive success over there as well? Sure, Hull KR fans won't want to hear that. But, if they shouldn't really stand in his way if he wants to go and test himself. He's rapidly becoming one of the most influential players in Super League. Let's see him try his best, and let's see him, show the Aussies that we can produce great players. There are a few players that have gone over there and done that, mainly forwards. There's not many backs have gone down under and proved themselves. I'm thinking Lewis Dodd, especially more recently. He's not doing too well down there, Lewis Dodd. Feel really sorry for him, to be honest. But yeah, if Mikey Lewis wants to go and prove himself in the NRL, that nobody should stand in his way, and let's hope he does it. And let's hope he shows that it's not just the forwards that can go down under and be a huge success from Super League. I think it's banging for him. I think it's probably hanging for most OKR fans.
Probably banging for England Rugby League as well.
Yeah.
We're talking a higher caliber of player though here than Lewis.
Yeah, and like I say, a lot of forwards have gone down under and been a success. Let's hope he does exactly the same thing.
Best wishes to Mikey if that dream was to come true. Right, we go back to Mr. Sale. And Mr. Sale, nice touch this by your team. New shirt on out as we speak. A warm-up shirt with all proceeds going to the Wigan and Lee Hospice. This is nice, isn't it?
It's lovely. I think the purple, it's a bit of a theme, isn't it? This kind of colour. But no, great hospices, Wigan and Lee Hospice. They do a lot in this area for everybody, and it's always a well-supported charity. So it's great to see the Leopards getting on board with it. So this is absolutely banging, regardless of what people think of the shirt. It's more about the cause.
Absolutely, you be the Roarers out there. Get yourself another great piece of merchandise and support what is absolutely a cause that in the local community does vital work. We salute everybody that works at the Wigan and Lee Hospice. Keep doing what you're doing. You are true heroes in your local community. And finally, we go back to Joel Scholes. We know we like a bit of NRL. It's all changing the NRL. Look at the top four. Look at the bottom four, Joel. Would you have thought this at the start of the season?
Well, it's all changed at the Bulldogs. When you look at that, they've got a new logo, I believe, is it? A nod to the 90th year being in the Premier League, their version, which is nice. I think they've had a few changes to the jersey. They've got some new players coming in 2026. Leo Thompson, I believe, signed for 2026, so that'll be interesting to see how he goes for Canterbury. But yeah, it's actually nice to see a few changes to the top and bottom of the NRL, because I think it's been the past few seasons, it's been a bit obvious who your runners and riders are. So yeah, it's nice to see a change, especially if they're going to be coming in to potentially take over Super League. But once again, wait to be seen.
Salary cap working well in the NRL. Who'd have thought it? Roosters and Panthers and Knights in the bottom three. Bulldogs leading the charge. Absolutely outstanding. We've done well there, gentlemen. That was another edition of Banging or Hanging. Absolutely, a bit of banging, hanging, wonderful stuff as we bring back Reggie and we bring back Mr. Sale in a moment when I get my buttons right. There you go. I don't know how to push your button. Outstanding stuff. Any comments on each other's hanging or banging, or should we move on? Anything from yourselves?
I think that lead top is really smart. I think that's a really, really nice top.
Very nice.
Fantastic. Lovely. Fire's comments with regards to Kristen Wade, a little bit.
That's a huge statement to say it's as big as Jonathan Davis. I mean, he set the sport on fire in the late 80s, early 90s. Last Warrington player to be Man of Steel, in fact. And I must admit, I think I put in the chat that I was really, really underwhelmed. I mean, as much as a good Union player, and he's very, very fast. The way they were talking, I think they're going to announce Cleary or Cherry Evans. And so I was really, really underwhelmed by that signing. But as said in that, we have to wait and see. As very often, Union guys don't make the switch. Some do, and some make a huge success. I think more often than not, they struggle. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But he's
coming to the back end. He's coming to the back end.
He's coming when the Union season finishes, isn't he? And
he's 33. He's coming to the back end of his career. But Steph, you watch a bit of NFL. So you're probably better versed, and of course I don't watch the silly code too much, I have to say. I'm a purist. I like my rugby league. So you probably know him better than any of us. You're quite excited by him, but do you think Fire's bigged him up a bit? I think that's disrespectful to a lot of the players that have come into Super League since the 1980s, personally.
Yeah, I mean, that's Martin's prerogative, isn't it? If he wants to big him up, then let him do that. I think anything to talk the sport up is brilliant, and if we're taking a Union player again, that's good as well. I think for him being attracted to come to our game at the back end of his career. One thing I'll say is he's absolutely lightning fast in terms of him converting to another sport. He went to the NFL and scored on his first play, I think, when he did it as a running back. So he's obviously got the ability and the mental ability to change codes in terms of that's a completely different game.
Absolutely. Like I say, I don't really, I don't watch it. I've had a message from Kieran, Alfie's dad, saying that Alfie absolutely loved the titles today. I wonder why that was, young Alfie. I wonder why that was. You look absolutely stunning, sir, on all of those photographs, I have to say. Do you think Martin and Fire would have said the same if he'd have signed for Lee, Steph?
No.
Play for Lee's a little bit like playing American football with all the obstructions these days.
Oh, it's going off. It's going off. Let's not go there. Anyway, he's disappeared before you go for him, Stephen, rightly so. I don't know. Unbelievable. What a way to treat your host on Saturday night. Disgraceful behaviour.
He knows I'm only joking.
Absolutely. Right, okay. Before we get into the next segment, a couple of announcements that we made. And I'm talking now to the members, actually, just for a few moments at time. We have got 2 tickets for the St. Helens Warrington game to give away this Thursday night. If you haven't seen the WhatsApp or you're not on the WhatsApp and you want to put your hand up for those, then get yourself do send me an email, info@superleagueraw.com. So info@superleagueraw.com. If you can attend that game Thursday night, 8 o'clock kickoff, St. Helens against Warrington at the HJ, the last game of the early season trilogy, then put your hand up for it. I'll do a random prize draw and two of you, somebody with a guest will be coming to that game free of charge. Great game for you to go there. And then on the 17th of June, note for the diary here for the members. Again, this is in the WhatsApp group. If you're not on the WhatsApp group for whatever reason, info@superleagueraw.com. On the 17th of June, Warrington Wolves Squad Builder are holding their annual quiz night to raise funds to get the kids over to Australia. Yours truly will be your compare with Sam Burgess for the night. All the first team will be in attendance, and Super League Raw have got a table for 6. Now, of course, we're going to put 2 of ourselves on that table, but we're going to give 4 tickets away. So 4 members will join us free of charge at the Sam Burgess my quiz for Warrington Wolves Squad Builder. You'll be able to get your autographs and you will play alongside a first team player, an academy player, a scholarship player and a member of staff. It's teams of 10, 6 of course guests, and then 4 representatives from the clubs on each team. What a great night that's going to be. And we're going to allow 4 of our members to join us and our guests on the night because all of us guys will be there as well. So just more reasons to become a member. There's the QR code. Get the QR code in. Free tickets, coming to events at clubs. Oh yeah, outstanding stuff. And of course, next week we're going to be giving away our biggest prize draw ever, but more on that later in the show. So yeah, get yourselves on the WhatsApp. If not that, info@superleagueraw.com. And like I say, you have got a chance of coming to the Saints Warrington game. info@superleagueraw.com if you want to put your hand up for those 2 free tickets. And of course, join us for a beer in the Bluebell before the game. All that said, this has been a belter this week. Too much to go at. I'm going to have to try and keep this one down.
Give your head a wobble.
Yes, give your head a wobble. It's back. Here we go. Look, there's just so much to get at this week. There really, really is. So where are we going to start? What are we going to start with? Let's start with our old mate. Yeah, I mean, our old mate is he's been at it again. Our friend Ian Judson, he came out on the other side of the Arthur Morg Cade Cust incident and said it was the Rovers player, Arthur Morg, play acting that got Cade Cust sent off. Really, Ian. Really. And this actually, like I say, I had so much ammunition on the Hull FC pages. Give your heads a wobble if you, on the the FC pages. If you don't think that's a red card, what game are you watching? That was a stonewall red card. Boys, am I right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right, Dave. I do try and have some sympathy for him, but he lets himself down.
It's a shocker.
He's caught him square with his shoulder at full force. Morg's running onto the ball. He's running into Morg. Full pace, the pair of them. No mitigation, like they said on the pitch. Shoulder to the head. I mean, Arthur Morg did well to get back on the pitch and get player of the match.
It is a worry.
Mere mortals would have been out for a fortnight.
Yeah, it is a worry. It is a real worry, that I have to say. Hopefully that hasn't done the pages of whatever the magazine or the paper is. Wouldn't do any favours for the readership, I have to say. Shocking, absolutely shocking, sir. Unbelievable stuff. Just a quick one with regards to Vegas. I would expect that the Vegas game at the start of next season it's the opening game of Magic Weekend. So basically, what I would say to you all there is the chances are that it'll be March, very similar to this year. So UKR fans that are probably already getting giddy thinking it's you who are going this year, yeah, you're possibly right. It'll probably be March. And a big welcome to Tom Massa. I hope that's the right way of saying it. Tom Massa, who has just become a Team Talk member at Super League Raw. Welcome to the family. To you, sir. Don't forget your heritage number will be going on the website tomorrow, and I will be doing all heritage certificates tomorrow for those who haven't got them. But it's great to have you as part of the family. Thank you very much indeed for becoming a part of the family. We love having you here. Right, let's get back in to some more brilliant wobbling. Get your wobbles ready, boys. Here we go. We're going to Warrington. Oh yes, Alan Franklin, my friend. This is joy. Here we go. Lee, we're always going to win. Players who play out of their skins with passion and biff. Bit of a compliment for you there, Stefan. Then it gets good. I wasn't there today, but I can picture the typical lackluster performance put on with a typical last 10 minutes attempt to claw it back. But you wasn't there, so how do you know? What are you talking about, dearie me, Adam? Rein it in, son. What are you doing? I mean,
I was tempted to say you might have a point, but then you might give your head a wobble at me.
Oh, mate, come on, mate. How can you have a comment like that if you weren't there and you haven't seen the game? Come on, do yourself a favour. What about
silly comment?
Different, unbelievable. Oh, dearie me, absolutely shocking. Right, okay. We now go to St. Helens. Do you know what? Now, again, this we know it's 1%, if that, of all St. Helens supporters, Warrington supporters, all of it. We're not having a go at your club. We're just having a bit of fun. We say that every week. Disclaimer, bit of fun. But St. Helens are the gift that keep on giving. Do you know what? Was it 4 in a row? It was 4 in a row, wasn't it? 4 in a row.
The four Pete.
Yeah, going down to Australia and winning the World Club Challenge. Yeah, do you remember that? Not so long ago. And this is the thanks that Dave Rooney gives. He says, think it's time for Eamon to think about finding us a new billionaire. Comedy gold. I mean, you just wouldn't have an Eamon, would you? I mean,
there was an even better one on Facebook before about Lewis Dodd and his troubles down under. Some Saints fan on there, I'm not even going to give the name because it'll embarrass. It'll be embarrassing. Said with Dodd still in the side, we'd have had an 8 Pete, not a 4 Pete. You've got more chance with Matty Pete.
Anyway, now then, here we go. Now, do you know what?
Saints fans.
We now go to Castleford. Now, look, would everybody agree that was a much improved Castleford Tigers performance? Wasn't it? It was in the right direction, would we say? Steph, you know, when your pack's being beat, what impact does that have on your halfbacks, would you say?
You know, it takes away all the creativity.
But Tom Sykes, Castleford Tigers fans, it's short, it's sweet, but it's laughable. Assy and Milne, terrible. Milne sets up your tries. What are you talking about, man? Milne had a stunning game. Did you not see his kicks? That's an absolute scandal. That is, Tom. Like, is all I would say to you. That is not your best effort in a million years.
And was it Assy that nearly brought them level with that drop goal attempt from halfway?
Yeah, mate. You know, I mean, let's see.
For some, if it's not flashy, it's no good.
Tom
and that's just how people look at it, innit?
Yeah. Tom Ramone's coming this weekend. Once they start getting, with Desiree and Salavio and the likes, suddenly the pack will get on top, and then we can judge Assy. But how can you put Milne in that one when he was one of the best players on the park? I mean, dearie me, come on, son, that's not good, Tom, lad. You'd want your time again, Tom, but unfortunately, if you don't delete it, we find it, we put it on our screen, and we go to you, sir. Right, we now move on to the next one. We're going to Wigan. Yeah. Oh, dear God, Lord. Now, do you know what? Again, we talk about humility. I mean, this is proper wobble time now. Job done. Easy to say it full time. Didn't get out of second gear.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, all right. I bet you were saying that at 18-14 as well, my friend. Deary me, Paul. Again, give yourself a head of wobble. Now, Wakefield Trinity, let's be fair, one of the stories of the season. Everybody happy with Wakefield Trinity boys? Wakefield Trinity doing?
100%.
Yeah.
The Up the Trim Brigade, a loving life, but by all accounts, they were booed off at half-time against Castleford. And there was a bit of tennis going on the social media. Some were saying it was booing the referee. Others were saying, was it booing the players? And then Michael Holt, rather than going, no, it was the referee, decided, no, it'd be a good idea to say it actually was the players. I mean, they deserved booing off at half-time. They were shocking. The team selection also shocking. We got lucky. We really did. I mean, Wakey this year. Come on. I mean,
let's
how
give credit to
them off?
Castleford.
Well, go on, mate.
Sorry, Dave. And you've got to give credit to Castleford as well.
Of course you do.
You can't expect a team to lie down just because you've got to give credit to the opposition sometimes.
That derby game as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's probably why the boos happened, because of course they had a terrible record against Castleford at home, and they were probably thinking they were going to get battered in the second half. I sort of get that, but actually sometimes you've got to take a step back and go, we're doing really well this season. We're doing really well this season. We're playing some really nice rugby league. We're going to be thereabouts in terms of maybe pushing for a playoff place, certainly cementing ourselves in the division. And then you boo your players. I mean, we don't like players being booed at the best of times. But I think Wakefield Trinity don't deserve to be booed off at the moment.
No. The best one I heard this weekend was why Warrington fans booing Sneed when he takes kicks.
Anyway, on that bombshell, look, you might think that once your comments from the week past have been had and done, you can breathe a sigh of relief and Super League roll out watching. Not at all. On the announcement that Mikey Lewis has a dream to go and play in the NRL, Patrick Brown of Hull FC decides to throw this one on Facebook and says they have lots of players like him, better ones in Australia. He wouldn't make it in the NRL with arrogance and attitude. I think arrogance and attitude make a halfback, quite frankly. And I think so. Go on, Joel.
It's what you need.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a great quality to be successful in the NRL, arrogance and attitude. Obviously, you've got the right levels of it.
He also said in the same interview he'd never play in black and white. Do you think that's got something to do with Patrick being a little bit disappointed? Just saying. Do you know what I mean? Patrick, lad. I think Mikey Lewis could actually go down there and do very well indeed. Looks like we're going to find out at some point. And then finally, we're going to go back to St. Helens. Let's be fair. Warrington at this moment in time, injuries in key positions, not playing consistently well. And then, Matt Andrews puts out there on the announcement on the squad for St. Helens for the Warrington game. Another loss incoming. We can't compete against Hulls, Wiggins and Warringtons this year. We need new blood. Have you seen the league table, Matt? Have you seen how many positions you're ahead of Warrington, Matt? Mate, come on. Show your team some love and respect. What's going on here? Can you believe a comment like that before a ball has been kicked? Gentlemen, help me, please. What's that about?
Lads, help me out.
Jeff, come on. You're normally the voice of reason. Go on. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, they've just gone toe-to-toe with Wigan and only just lost very narrowly. Warrington are 9th in the league. They've got every chance. This week I've actually predicted, spoiler alert, Saints to win.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Absolutely. Look, Steve Cartley, some fans don't know that they're born. It's, there's loads of them here going in. Assie's out of form. Dawn Milne's coming back from an injury. Give him a break. Couldn't agree more. Dawn Kirkby on that. Look, like I say, it's 1%, but everybody loves to give you head of wobble section. We could have done a full show on them. There's that many there. I mean, I don't know what it was this week. Maybe too much chocolate on people's head, but there's some absolute shock.
Too many numbers.
Oh, mate, some shockers. And anybody who thinks that Kate Gus one wasn't a red, deary me. Wow, is all I'm going to say to that. Right, we're now going to have a little bit of a debate. Here we go. Not the usual Nixon report this week. Challenge Cup coming to a quarter final near you very, very soon. We had no Nixon report last week, so we thought we'd have a little chat about it this week because, of course, there have been a lot of comments around the women's game. And obviously, it's your segment, Greg, but some of the results last week, Sheffield, of course, calling off their game after, I think it was 60 minutes against Leeds, and then not giving Lee Leopards a run out. last week in the Challenge Cup. Some massive 100-point scores. It's a tough one, this, isn't it, in terms of the women's game and where it comes
is.
from.
It is, and I have to be very, very careful because I work closely with the Warrington Wolves women, so I have to be very, very careful. Not because I'm scared of what they might say or do to me, but because I see the hard work that goes in, and I see the kind of the attitude the girls have got and the willingness to do well and the hard work the coaches put in. And it's such a shame that we have a situation where clubs aren't willing to back their women in the same way that we see in Australia. And I really did think things, and again, I've got to be very, very careful not to be disingenuous to the clubs and the players and the teams. But I really did think what happened in Australia was a watershed moment. I spoke to Amy Hardcastle a couple of weeks later when she came to watch her daughter play against my daughter for Dewsbury Rams. And she was saying that, things have got to change. And I really, really did think that maybe it's going to be a longer process than I'd hoped. Warrington being beat 102, they've got a very, very young team. They lost a lot of big players throughout last season, at the end of last season. Swinton are doing really, really well. Salford are doing really, really well in the lower division. And mainly, I've got to say this on the back of a lot of experienced Warrington players that went there. Sheffield was a mismatch because of the injuries that Sheffield suffered. They had 9 fit players at the end on 60 minutes. They had to play till 60 minutes to make the scoreline stand, and then they couldn't play Lee. We have to we have to come to a point where each rugby league club that has a women's team has got to start following the Australian example. We're being led by Saints, Leeds, Wigan, York. Lee are doing really well. Lee are a club that are supporting their women really, really well. Swinton, the same. Salford, to a certain degree. I can't speak too much for the Yorkshire clubs, but there is an element of support in there. But we really do need to follow the Australian example now, I think. And we really, yes, I know there's not a lot of money in the game, and we're reading about clubs making losses at the end of each season in this country. But we're not talking money. We're talking the same facilities, letting them appear in the stadium, giving them the same medical treatment that the men have got. A lot of women have had to retire because of injury, and yet their men's team, the Monday, the Tuesday after they get an injury at the weekend, they're going under the knife, they're getting surgery and they're getting rehab, and that's not happening a lot of time in the women's game, and it has to change if we want to be serious. And we can't just keep treating it like a tick box for a team in Super League, for the ratings, for the rankings. We have to have a serious think. And if we want women's rugby league in this country to succeed, then the clubs have to support it 100%. As you know, my youngest daughter, my eldest daughter's out injured at the minute. My youngest daughter also plays. She's under 14s. She's played for LSH in Union for the last 2 years. They've gone through 2 seasons, won every single game, and they will be snapped up by Union. Every single player in that team, if they want to, will be snapped up by Union. We can't let that happen. There's a golden generation of girls, not just my daughter, that age group, the age group above and the age group below. There's a golden generation of girls coming through at this moment in time who will be the ones that take rugby league forward in this country. But if the investment and the willingness isn't there, we're going to lose them. And that's my biggest fear, that we are going to lose this golden generation of young girls coming through who want to play rugby league, will turn their back on the game.
Right. Well, look, I mean,
that's my 2 pence anyway.
The thing that sells sport is jeopardy. And for me, I think we could pretty much guess what the semi-finals are.
Yeah.
Probably before it even kicked off. Separate them in the draw. The likelihood is it's going to be Saints against York, and it's going to be Wigan against Leeds. Let's bring the lads in. I mean, Steph,
St Helens, 100 points in the first game. They haven't conceded a point in both of these two games against Warrington and against Cardiff. That's not even good for Saints, let alone the other two teams, is it?
No, and it's a bit. I'm going to probably get pelters here, as Reggie says. It's a bit like the Challenge Cup in the men's game for me now. The women's game, it's a completely pointless exercise in terms of doing this group stages and stuff. They've got some elite teams in the women's game at the moment, and they're obviously the flagship. But it's not doing anybody just as much as the Vegas game against the Australians not done the women's game any favours. Playing these fixtures, and I get it because they're trying to make the numbers up, but it's not doing it any favours. You've got to have, competitive games, because otherwise you're selling a damn squid. No one wants to see it. It's just, it's not sport. So I don't know what the answer is. What I will say in terms of a positive, and what I like Reggie, my daughter's just started playing. We're going to Barrow on the weekend to go and watch her play. The amount of girls playing the sport is massively on the increase. That's the from a grassroots level, that's the biggest positive in the women's game at the moment for me. But it needs investment. But what it does need is it needs women to back it. It needs women business owners to back it, and it can't just be reliant on the men's game. You've got to appeal to your target audience, and there's loads of brilliant women business owners out there. That's who I think that we should be targeting to really empower these girls and do it off your own back. Don't be reliant on the men. Don't be reliant on Super League owners. Bring your own investment in. And then do it really, really well, because there's plenty of people who are looking for really talented young female athletes to sponsor, to do things with, and that's where I think the women's game should go, and also attract, like me and Reggie, got daughters. We want to invest in the women's game. We want to see it grow and do really well. That for me is where they need to go.
Yeah,
it's a good point, that Steph.
Joel, bring you in. We saw the scenes after the game in Vegas between the Gillaroos and England. I think, and I'm going to be critical here, and I'm sure the same thing happened in the Leeds dressing room as well. I'm going to be critical of the established sides. Banging drums 104-0 against Warrington, banging drums against Sheffield Eagles when they got off the park at 60. They've got a responsibility to be a bit humble, because what's that doing for the morale and encouragement of those girls coming through at the other clubs? At the end of the day, I think they've got. It's not again. When they're going up against their peers, so when they're playing each other, absolutely. Because let's be honest, we've watched those games. They're good. It's a good standard of rugby league when the top four play each other. But I think when the likes of Saints beat Warrington 104-0, when Leeds go and batter Sheffield, the last thing they should be doing is banging drums. Remember how you felt when the Gillaroos did it to you? What you should be doing is maybe going into their dressing room and giving them encouragement. What's your thought on that, Joel?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, no matter who you play for and in what league you play, you want to go and win. Whether you know what the result's going to be at the end of the game or not. It's just in your nature wanting to win, especially when you're a sports person. Now, these games are important for these younger players to play against some of the better players that have been seasoned. Yeah, because, you think, wow, I've played against them, and that's an accolade for you, personally for yourself, that you can say you've played with or against them. But what you're doing is you're ruining the sport, like Steph said. You can't be having these really big moments in such a cup where, there's potential little monies on the line, and careers and livelihoods, and some of these girls are going up against some of them that are these top professionals. They could get hurt, because they've not been in the sport as long as others. They've not got the same training facilities that they should be getting. Totally agree with those of, I think Craig's mentioned it on the chat before, that they should have the same treatment as the men, because they need the recovery, they need the coaching, they need the strength and conditioning. There's everything that gets included. Your nutrition, the job lot, the psychology, everything. And these young talented women that we've got, it's unbelievable the last thing you want is for the young girls who are coming through thinking, right, well, I'm only going to make it into the lower teams. I ain't going to go play against these teams and get battered 100-0. Because that's just no good for your confidence, and it's no good for. And you just think I'm not going to make it into these big teams. Whereas if you have these games, play them in friendlies, give it a bit of marketing, put a bit of something in it. It doesn't have to cost much to market it. Market it. Let these friendlies games happen. All right, then 100-0, fine, but it's a friendly. It's a pre-season friendly. But when it comes to these types of games, I wouldn't be yet, because the women's game isn't currently where it needs to be for us to have them Challenge Cup kind of rounds. I think what they need to do is need to focus on getting the league right, getting it set, get the teams better, get the players better, the player pool bigger, and then you can look further down the line at the Challenge Cup, because this is a brilliant sport, is the women's rugby, and it needs to be done right. And the only reason it can be done right is by having to hold back on some of the things that they'd like to do for the longevity of the sport in women's rugby league.
Yeah, last one from Sir Greg on this one. I've got a radical one for you, Reggie.
Go on.
You know, we like to give guidance to the Rugby Football League here in Super League Raw, don't we? So how's this as a concept? I'll give this one to you. So each team can have a maximum of 2 players from the Southern Hemisphere. Each team can have a maximum of 2 players from within their county, 1 player from out of their county, and every other player needs to be homegrown from their own town. Or you give them a couple of postcodes, like, for example, Warrington, Widnes haven't got, so it'd be Widnes and Warrington. St. Helens, Liverpool, whatever. You know, Wigan, Leeds, you split them. So actually what you're doing then is you're stopping Saints, Leeds, York, getting the best talent. Because the only way you're going to grow it is to, you know, we know we can't do it with money and salary cap. So do it with quotas. 2 from Australia, 2 from that you can poach from around your county, 1 from the opposing county, and then basically what we'll see is a better spread of talent, and that would help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to any ideas to grow this game. As you know, it is a fantastic product, and people need to get their eyes on it. What also doesn't help is the last 2 games that Warrington have played have coincided with Warrington playing at home as well. So the crowds aren't big. But yeah, Dave, you know, anything that will grow the game, that will encourage more girls to play it. We have got lots and lots of girls coming into the sport, more and more each year. It's a growth area for rugby league. The Rugby Football League needs to recognise this as well. You know, I would personally not have, for 5 years, I would not have overseas players coming into the game, and I would make it purely homegrown players.
I think that's a mistake because
well,
let me explain why.
Go on. Okay. Go on.
Because the Australian girls are of a high level. So you bring them over, they complement the coaches, mate. So we heard Dennis Bett said that to you when you interviewed him at the launch.
True. And again, it's a good point. Personally, I think developing local talent is more important at this stage. But, you know, as I say, I'm open. I mean, the guys have made some real good points. Getting women involved at a sponsorship level is an absolutely fantastic point. Yeah, we'll have to see, won't we? Because, you know, as I've said, we either have to, we are at a watershed moment in the sport, I believe. A decision has to be made, and that decision has to be that we put 100% support behind the women's game and we get involved.
Well, like I say, I think, you know, this will rumble on and on and on. But I said this to you on Saturday. As long as the men's game's struggling, I think women's game is going to struggle a lot.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. Okay. Look, that's enough from the Women's Super League for today. But I felt it was an important conversation to have. What we're going to do now is, yes, it's that time of the week. It's that time of the week. It's that time of the week where we do Team of the Week. Now, of course, myself, Steph, and Greg in Round Unpacked. You know, we shot a little bit on the official Super League Team of the Week. We felt it wasn't quite right. But as always, you know, here is the Super League Raw Team of the Week, which I believe has a far more in-depth analysis done before we pick it. Here we go. Over we go.
Team of the Week is sponsored by The Good Estate Agent. With an average turnaround time of 3 weeks, if you want your house sold quickly, then contact Stefan today on 01942 356 577. Quote Super League Raw for 33% off. It's the Simply Raw Team of the Week for round number 8 with the good stage of 2025. Here we go again, and at 1. Who is it? Well, he was knocked down. He was struck down by a smooth criminal in Cade Course, but Arthur Morg got up off the canvas to deliver the ABC of sidesteps and told the black and whites to beat it. At 2 is the hat-trick man, Tommy Makinson. There's been a whisper or two in terms of Tommy's season thus far, but he made a picnic of the Salford defence on Saturday, leaving egg on the face of any doubters. At 3 is Petter Hicker of the Robins. He was here, there and everywhere for KR. Talk about a revolution. Well, with Hicker in the team, you know it's going to be alright. And he invited those in attendance to come together in celebration. At 4 is Jordan Rap Anna. He was a hi-hat with a souped-up tempo and was on a roll. And what about the solo? Wow! He was quick to the point, no faking. He was cooking for FC like a pound of bacon. Mic drop. At 5, Gary. There's one for the Tennessee Tigers fans. A lovely brace from the man they named twice. He is a cross between a cheetah and a greased pig. Hard to catch and to get hold of. At 6 is Luke Keary, who had his most influential performance of the season so far. Some might like their meat plain, but as everybody who orders a chicken tandoori knows, marinade is what is required, and it takes time to penetrate the meat, but the taste is always worth it. At 7 is the man with the perfect foot, Mr. Harry Smith. His bridge is more delightful than the Golden Yates. His instep is as good as his sidestep. His arch is more golden than the 2 at McDonald's and Ashby's Hill. Well, he backheeled Saints into corners all game. At 8, and on debut, is Caius Fatelli. The Australian with the Italian pasta name was tasty, wasn't it? His runs were not like spaghetti because they were straight and true. He carried the ball like it was fettuccine and left the defences as flat as linguine. At 9 is Joe Mellor of Salford Red Devils, who displayed heart and desire for the shirt and a role model, of course, for the youth in the side. He was like a giraffe in a field of zebras, simply head and shoulders the best 9 this week. I bet he doesn't have dandruff either. At 10 is Jared Warrior Hargreaves, who took up the challenge of dethroning Herman SASA from the team of the week this week. This was JWH that we were expecting at the start of the season, and just like Oliver Twist, we want more, please. At 11 is that boy Frankie Holton, who again showed his consistency is as assured as a trip to the Kazi after a bad curry. That said, there's nothing better than to grab a comfortable stool and watch Holton produce runs in attack and pain like constipation in defence. At 12 was the prop-turned second row, Jack Ashford of Hull FC, who more than deputised for the injured Chamberlain at the MKM. He was like a brick hod, carrying the weight of the team in key moments of the game and refusing to throw in the trowel. And finally at 13 is Isaac Lee of the Leopards, who ensured the Leopards went home as happy as a cub, a scout, a brownie, a girl guide and a beans feast at a camp. Who needs souffles and fillet steak when keeping it simple is an art of Benoit proportions? Ladies and gentlemen, this is your team of the week for round number 8. Yes, there it is, the team of the week for round number 8. Mr. Scholes, you're fastly becoming the biggest giggler on team of the week.
I feel like you're doing it on purpose now because you just know what, that's brilliant. That is a mix of a cheetah and a grease pig. That is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, happy days. Mr.
Got me
Nixon.
hungry now.
I can't even get the words out. I can't believe you use the word stool in that analogy. I was okay with Michael Jackson. I was all right with the Beatles. But a bad curry and a stool, mate, you slaughtered me.
Constipation.
Oh dear. Well, before we get your takes on the actual team itself.
I can't speak, mate.
Can't spec. I don't know. Yeah, there was a couple in there that I quite enjoyed. This one, I have to say. Right, okay. Simbikin must have been close. He was. Miller must have been close. He was. Sam Walters must have been close. He was. Yeah, I mean, a lot of really good players this weekend in the positions, but I'm comfortable with that. Mr. Sale, your first thoughts on the Super League Raw team of the week?
No, I think it's a really good team of the week. I agree. I think Sam Walters was outstanding again for Wigan in a position that he's been playing prop, hasn't he? So outstanding from him. Good to see Kiri in that team as well. He's really starting to show a bit of form, which we all thought he would do at the start of the season. So no, great to see Luke in there. And I thought Harry Smith was outstanding for Wigan, and that'll only do his England credentials even more favours going forward. So Gary as well, I thought was brilliant.
Oh no, you can't say that. You've got to do it properly. Gary, Gary, go on, mate.
No, things, but no, Gary. I always do the Only Fools and Horses. That's why it's always the Gary episode was brilliant. But yeah, no, he's outstanding for Cass.
Absolutely. Reggie, happy with that?
Yeah, more than happy with that, mate. Yeah, I get what you're saying about Walters. I mean, he's really coming into his own. I don't think he's shown his best form since he moved to. Well, he had the bad injury, didn't he? And I think he struggled to come back from that. But this season, he seems to be growing into the game, playing at prop. I think he's, he's showing his worth now. Yeah, I mean, Gary, he scores every time he plays. It would seem. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that, mate. Good team. Good team.
Frankie Ollenson kept his place week on week. Our newest member, Mr. Massa, had his reservations on Holton last year, but he does agree. He is Mr. Consistency, without doubt. Joel, I've just got to say Joe Mellor. Yeah, I thought Joe Mellor for Salford in a beaten side. You've got to feel for Joe Mellor. I thought Joe Mellor was absolutely exceptional at Catalan. If they had 13 of him, they might have won.
Well, you want them kind of players in your squad, the never die attitude, and when you can put a performance in like that, it just shows how good of a player you are, the quality that you show. Because if players around you aren't playing so well, or that they're letting the heads drop, and you're playing with your chest up, it can only bode well for you for the future. Because obviously we don't know what the future is of Salford right now, but no matter where, if he goes anywhere, whoever gets him is going to be very lucky. Because if you've got a player like that who's playing in the depths of the despair that they're playing, to go to somewhere where there's more optimism in the game, that surely can only be good for the club and for him himself. And it was good to see Morg as well. I think is that 2 weeks running now he's been there in fullback?
No. He wasn't there. He wasn't there last week. It was Shyfield, but I'd had a good game as well, as did Bevan French. There was a lot of great players this weekend, but like I say, we get into the detail. I thought Morg getting off the canvas and producing that performance was absolutely exceptional, fully deserving. I mean, I don't even need to go anywhere near Harry Smith, And actually, I think a shout out to the Wakey lad. I thought his second half Wakey Cass. I mean, that's what you want your prop forward to do. You want him to run hard. And when what he did in that second half, he did incredibly well. And for me, that was pivotal to Wakefield coming back in that game. Would you agree? Anyone?
Yeah, he's been brilliant. Completely unknown signing, and I think he's just been getting better week on week for Wakefield. Really important signing for them now going forward, and I'm sure he's going to get even better. And he could potentially be talked about like SESA as a whole. I'm not saying he's as good a player as him, but he's got the potential to become a bit of a football legend at Wakefield for me.
Yeah, sorry, Dave, you dropped out there, but I think I said on the other day that he's impressed me every time I've seen him playing for Wakefield. I think he's been a real quality signing for them.
Any Trim fans, let us know. I just thought they've signed him up on a decent contract, because he is playing to the point where if they have got him on a 12-monther, I think there'll be a few people looking at him. I think he's he started really, really well indeed. But there you go. And again, 8 teams represented of the 12 in our team of the week. It's not about names. I always say this. It's not about names. It's about what they produce on the field in their position for that one game. And we do the consistency piece in team of the month, and like I say, for me, in their position, these 13 absolutely outstanding. Right, it's that time of the week again. Here we go.
Ooh, pass me a cucumber sandwich.
Yes, it's time to go to the press box and see who's got the best sandwiches in Super League this week. Let's kick off at that game in Catalan in the El Perpignan. I mean, Mr. Sale will tell you they do a fine Pinot down there. But anyway, let's Noir, sir. Pinot Noir. Anyway, let's get into them. 3 points go to Luke Keary in our team of the week. Nobody's got any arguments there. 2 points went to Tommy Makinson in our team of the week. Right, boys, who gets the one? Who gets the 1 point? You saw the game. Who gets the point? Who gets the point? Come on.
Anyway. I didn't see it. I was too busy winding Reggie up. So
I was blurred by that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, it was a Salford player. Any ideas based on what you saw?
Not Mella by the television.
Oh, no. It's not Joe. No, Joe was far too good.
Well, it could be Joe, shouldn't it? But yeah.
It weren't Sayaki Chan either.
Yeah.
A standout performer for the Salford Red Devils. This will make you happy, Steph. Ryan Briley. It's just, I'd cry, but anyway. Well, let's go to Warrington against Lee. 3 points for Lachlan Lamb. No issues with that. Unlucky if it weren't for the great performance of Harry Smith. Possibly have been in our team, but I think we'd all agree Harry Smith was absolutely exceptional yet again in the game against Saints. 1 point went to Ethan O'Neill. Again, I've got no real issues with that. I think Frankie was a bit better, hence he was in our team of the week. But O'Neill is as consistent as they come, and I could understand with his beautiful blonde locks him, catching the eye. He's a good lad. He's our Ethan, and he's playing very well this season. So who got the 2 points? It was a Lee player. Who got the 2 points?
Oh, right. I was going to say Matt Duffy.
Oh, good Lord, no. 2 points?
They'll give it to Edwin Apapi because he scored.
Why? Because he
scored. Because he scored.
Did you see him as the top three lead player on the day, Steph?
No.
No.
Lam, Ethan O'Neill, Frankie Alton.
Right, let's go to Leeds. Now. Lockie Miller got the 3 points again. Great game, no issues with that. I thought Lockie Miller was absolutely outstanding. Good effort from him. 2 points went to Harry Newman. I sort of get that. I thought Newman had one of his better games of the season. I've got to give him that. 1 point. You saw the game. Any ideas who the 1 point might have gone to?
Be a try scorer.
Do you think?
Can't have gone to a Huddersfield player, surely.
Oh, good Lord, no. Behave yourself, Joe.
Well, hey,
try
it's
scorer.
worse.
Yeah. Don't set me on, though. Mr. Burgess had a good game. Best game in the Giant shirt. No doubt about it.
That's golden, too.
But the 1 point went to Cooper Jenkins. Cooper Jenkins got a point this week, just to let you know on that one. Goldthorpe medal at the Wakey Cast game. 3 points for Armand Fatilli. No issues there. 2 points for Jeremiah Simbikin. Sort of get that. Now, think of all the players in that game who had an impact on it. To be fair, who would you give the point to?
Lino,
yeah, good shout. Can I just give a little note in despite? I thought, that lad give you a wobble, Milnes. I thought Milnes had a good game.
Milnes was all right as well.
No.
He did quite
They
well.
gave it to Tex Hoy for his break that set up the first Gary try.
The one break.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? And then we go to the Hull Derby. 3 points out of Morg. No issues there. No issues there. 2 points went to Jez Litton. I get that. He was tidy. I don't think he was as good as it. I mean, I'm not having a go at this because I sort of get Jez Litton and he gave Rapana 1. So
he played all right. He played all right, Litton.
Rapana played well. Litton played well. I'm not having a go at that, to be honest with you. Like I say, I thought IQ deserved. Right. Let's go to the game at the Brick. Oh, fantastic. Right. Okay. Lads, please, right, control yourselves here. Just control yourselves. Remember, you're on.
Turn the volume off.
This is live. Just curb your enthusiasm for these wonderful performances. 1 point. In fact, 3. Right. You watched this game, didn't you, Greg? Just give me some names who should be in here.
God, blimey. Smith has got to be in there.
Got to be.
French.
Field.
Walters.
Joe?
I'm trying to think. The Whitby from Saints.
Yeah, he was all right. He steady well.
Yeah.
Okay. None of the above are in the 3 points. Are in the points. None of them.
Really?
None of them. Not one. So you've all watched that game, and you're throwing names at me that meant something to you in that
if
game.
Sailor's in there, I'm giving up now.
And none of them get a point. 1 point, Zach Eckersley. 2 points, the man who fell over the line twice, Abbas Miski. 3 points, Jake
Don't
Wardle.
say Sailor.
Jake Wardle.
Wow.
Anybody.
Jake Wardle has got photographs of somebody somewhere because he keeps getting man of the match with Sky as well.
Yeah, he does actually. Yeah.
No offense.
Mate,
No offense.
I'm sorry, but and I'm sure in the chat they're having a good old giggle at that.
To be fair enough, Jake Wardle probably is at this moment in time, I would say, if not the best, one of the best centres in Super League.
Yeah, but he weren't in the top
if
three.
Not the best. But again, it's this Emperor's new clothes.
Boys, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
And again, I say what I said last week. If you don't want the criticism, get it right.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who watched that Saints Wigan games knows that Harry Smith has to be top 3. Has to be.
Yeah.
There's an argument for Bevan French again. There's an argument when you said about Whitby. There's certainly an argument.
More than an argument for Bevan French. That kick for field try was exquisite.
Yeah, exactly. Sam Walters, absolutely. You know, for none of the above mentioned players to have been given a point, it does make you wonder. It just makes you wonder. That's all I'm going to say. Right, we're going to have we're about to change track. We're going to do Fantasy League, and then we're going to get into the predictions for round number 9. But before we do, here we go. Right, Super League Raw. We've already said the members. You've got tickets on the line for Saints Warrington, free of charge. You've just got to let me know. Do you want to be in the draw? Happy days. You 4 of you are going to be our guests at the quiz night in June with Sam Burgess and the Warrington team. Outstanding stuff. Get up close and personal. So any Warrington fan out there, surely you've got to be interested in that. And don't get me wrong, Rugby League fans will be interested in that. And if you don't want to come to see Warrington, come and see us, because us four are going to be there. It'd be lovely to have your company. So there's a couple of things straight off the bat that you've got to look forward to. But at the start of the season, we announced our biggest prize draw yet. And here we go. This time next week, the winner will be announced. You have got just until Monday to get your draw tickets. If you're a member, you get your tickets as per your membership. So 3 if you're team talk, 2 if you're 6 again, 1 if you're 18 man. But you also have the opportunity of increasing your chances. And if you're a non-member, you can enter 10 entries for £10. And this is what you're playing for.
There is just nothing like the Challenge Cup final. Today, Super League Raw announced our biggest competition ever. Regardless of which 2 teams will be playing, Super League Raw will be there with our members to celebrate an epic day of Rugby League at the home of British sports. Join the Super League Raw family at the Challenge Cup final on the 7th of June at Club Wembley. All members are automatically included as per their membership. But if you want your chance of being at Club Wembley on the 7th of June 2025, then get over to our website where tickets are just £2 to enter this prize draw. And perhaps the best news is that you will be supporting grassroots Rugby League through Super League Raw in 2025. So don't hesitate. Buy your ticket now, support local Rugby League, and maybe we will see you at the Challenge Cup final in Club Wembley. Super League Raw, it just keeps getting better.
There you go. Exciting times indeed. The draw will take place this time next week, of course. Wow, what a competition that is. £10 gets you 10 entries. The QR code was on the screen. If you didn't do the QR code, then, of course, watch it back on YouTube or just go to our website in the shop. That's where you can get your £10, 10 entries for £10. Boys, who will be joining us at Club Wembley for the Challenge Cup final on the 7th of June. Should be a belter. There's already 16 of us going, which is good this far out. But, yeah, great competition, Greg.
Oh, mate, absolutely fantastic competition. No question about that.
Yeah.
People should be buying tickets for this. Come
Yeah.
on, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about it,
let's get behind this. This is absolutely fantastic.
it's good value. I mean, there's not many competitions you can go for, Steph, where over 100 quid's worth of prize at a spectacular venue in a spectacular facility in great surroundings, where you can get 10 entries for 10 quid and maybe be in Club Wembley for one of the showpiece events of the year.
Absolutely, mate. No, it's brilliant, and we've experienced it. You're letting my secret out the bag in terms of the quality of Club Wembley. No, I encourage everyone to get the tickets and spend also with the best rugby league community and that together. So that's the most important thing. So get your tickets bought, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Absolutely, of course, Joel. There is the added bonus that young Alfie's going to be there. So Mr. Celebrity himself, Alfie, he'll be there. Well worth coming along to shake that young man by his hand and maybe buy him a pint or orange juice.
Orange juice, yeah, J2O, yeah. It'd be an absolute privilege to meet him if anyone can. Show him as much support as we can. So it's not just about Wembley, it's about Alfie as well. So well done.
Well said, sir.
Absolutely. That's absolutely fantastic. So there you go. That's our pitch over for that. So loads of tickets, loads of great things coming up, courtesy of Super League Raw. You members have got greater chances, of course, of winning things. But yeah, not a million miles away. This time next week, live on the show, we will be doing our prize draw. Tune in for that. We know that you will. Right, okay. Now time for this.
This is Joel Scholes with your fantasy league update. Let's see who the movers and shakers are for this week.
So for this week, the team of the week, fantasy team of the week, we've got Lachlan Miller at 82 points, and then we've got King and Hiku with 57 and 59 respectively, and then Rapana and Makinson with 57 and 58 points. Pretty close within that there, isn't it, for the outside backs? And then we've got Kiri with 63 points and Mella with 85 points. As Mella's been mentioned earlier, clearly that was a good showing for Mella the other day. Minchella with 58 points, Sims with 70, Frankie Holton with 66. They got McMeekin with 76 points, Mulhern with 73, and Jesliton with 78 points. And then we're going to move on now to the podium, the top three. So in third, Stuart Scaife. He currently has one hand on the Super League Raw merch. Absolutely quality stuff. What I'm wearing right now, the shirt, I wear it all the time. It's brilliant. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully you getting that. David Moore in second, currently not a member, so isn't getting the replica shirt. Remember, guys, these prizes are worth far more than what your membership costs. So you need to become members if you want to win these prizes. Can't stress it enough. And then the number one prize, the season ticket for 2026, is Neil Ormston. So currently, Neil, you've got your one hand on the season ticket. Let's see if you can put it onto two at the end of the year. And when we're looking at the top 10, we've got Neil Ormston in one, David Moore in two, Stuart Scaife in three. We then have Alan Bagley in fourth, Steve Richardson in fifth, David Windus in sixth, seventh we've got Alan Bagley again, eighth we've got Terry Moon, ninth we've got Neil Ormston again, and 10th Mark Arnell. And the highest point scorer for the week was David Windus with a massive 751 points. So really well done there. And if you look further down in the league table, you'll notice there was a couple of other 700 pointers. So even if you might be further down in the league, just remember you've got to have a few weeks of good points like that, and you're going to fly yourself up that table. So well done, and I need to do that myself as well because I'm just trash at the moment. So yeah, well done to those who've been playing well this week.
Absolutely, Mr. Scholes. Very well done. A little check in there for the Fantasy League. Always good. I see Mick Devlin wants to maybe get involved with Super League Raw, but he's an internet dinosaur. Get in touch with us, Mick. We'll help you every step of the way. Be great to have your company as part of our community. Right, boys, here we go. 45 minutes to go. Plenty of time to discuss round number 9 of the Betfred Super League that's coming up this weekend, of course. Right, first things first, let's get into the Predictions League and Mr. Sale. Take a bow, sir. I mean, you've been having a pretty dodgy season, but 27 points this week for Mr. Sale. An absolute stellar effort from him. Takes him up to 102. He's leapfrogged me and Mr. Crabtree. Another week like that, he'll be knocking on Mr. Nixon's door. Good effort indeed. Greg, the members and the non-members all getting 24 points this week. Then me on 22. Joel, a better week from you with 21. And finally, Earl with 16 points. Earl, of course, dropping down. Unlike two in Giants colours to be bottom of the tables, that's very, very unusual. Very unusual indeed. That's cruel. That's cruel. I'm sorry, big fella. I'm sorry. It's cruel. Cruel. Anyway, that's how it all looks. But no, a massive well done to Mr. Sale. We've never had a perfect 30 ever. And Steph came very, very close last week. I think it was the Wakey game, Steph.
Yes.
I think it was a Wakey game that let you down. Unlucky, mate. Unlucky. But hey, we start again. But yeah, I think that could be probably one of the closest efforts for 30 points on a week. I can't remember a better effort than that. So very well done indeed. Right, we go to the games for this week. Right, let's get rid of the QR code for this one. Right, okie dokie. Warrington against Saints. Of course, a trilogy, no less, at the start of the season. Warrington 2-0 up, 6 on the bounce now for the Warrington Wolves. We know the Wire have got some concerns, some big concerns when it comes to their personnel. We've actually got the teams. I just forgot to upload it before the show. So let's get them up. Here it comes. Fantastic. These are the squads that have been announced for both sides. From a St. Helens perspective, Percival, I think it's massive. I say this all the time. Of course, who are they going to put next to him? Probably, I'm guessing it would be Matt Whitley, if I'm a betting man. Wings, Murphy came through, which is good news. Benison will be the other side. Then he's got a decision to make in the halves and at full back. Shall we start there? Joel, do you see him making a change, or do you think he'll go Wellesby at 6 and Sailor at 1 again? I think Whitby stays in the squad, quite frankly. Do you think he's going to make a change at 1 and 6?
No, I think he's got to keep it as it was. One thing that we've learned, certainly at Huddersfield, is you just can't keep swapping and changing. I know if you have to, you have to. But if something's working, keep it going. See, the great thing about Wellesby is you can put him in 1 and you can put him in 6, and he does a great job in either positions. But then, you know, you like Tristan Sailor, you know, you've got to kind of, it's his first year in Super League, so you've got to settle him in. So for me, I'd be keeping it as it is. But Paul Willems, he's known to change things up from time to time, so anything could happen.
Greg, I mean, you know, where Sailor's concerned, I take Joel's point there. You can't keep moving him around. They've got to settle on a position so he can get some sort of form and consistency. We were talking, I think, I can't remember if it was Round Unpacked or Captain's Run, 2 shows, of course, that only our members get to see. Over, will he be, I mean, I saw this on a St. Helens page, actually, that, you know, Lomax traditionally was more a 6 than a 7. So would they be tempted to leave Whitby at 7, bring Lomax in at 6, put Wellesby back at full back and take Sailor out the firing line? Would that be something that you think he might do? Or are you agreeing with Joel or leave it as it is?
I think it was Round Unpacked when I said this is the battle of two coaches who have to be brave this week. If Wellens is brave, he could do that. He could also drop Whitby and bring Lomax in, which I think possibly he may do. The more experienced player against who's played Warrington a lot of times and actually knows what it's like to beat a Warrington team. You know, I think Wellens will. I think he'll persevere with Sailor at full back, and I think the change will be Lomax for Whitby.
Wow,
I'm going to guess Steph will disagree with that. Because I don't think that am I right, Steph? Do you think he'll leave Whitby in?
I think he's made a very brave call for the Wigan game. I think he should back himself, and the need for me. There's not many teams that will go to Wigan and only lose by the amount of points the Saints lost. And I know that's not what Saints fans want to hear, but they didn't play badly in this game. The reason they lost was individual errors. It wasn't his team selection. So if they can fix that up, then they will beat Warrington in this game. I'm convinced of it, and more so because of the Warrington injuries as well, which has got to key players, with Williams. I think it's more on Burgess' selection than what Wellens' selection is in this game. That's the big one for me. If Saints can fix up those silly errors from individuals, then they've got a very good side. And if anybody thinks they haven't, then I think they're a bit deluded, if I'm being honest. They've got some quality players in that Saints team. And if they can fix up those individual errors, I think they're going to put on a real show here. And I can't see it being 7 losses on the trot. That's the other big one. But we'll see. I think he's going to stick with the same team.
Yeah, I mean, on the Warrington side, I mean, look, Harrison, very surprised to see James Harrison back so quickly. He was expected to be out a lot longer than that. We saw Steve limp off at Lee. He's in the squad. We all know that Ashton's carrying a knot, even though he's scoring tries. It's crystal clear that Matty Ashton is not 100%. I would hope that the centres had a few passes between them and the wingers this week in training. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, like I say, I think we've been wondering how long it's going to be before Saints beat Warrington. Of course, 6 in a row is unprecedented. One thing's for certain, I think the St. Helens fans, regardless of what they say, league positions don't lie. They should be beating Warrington. They should be. But at the moment, Warrington have got unbelievably a bit of a hoodoo over Saints, which just doesn't happen. But I think this is a game where I think Saints, if they don't win this, wow, I think, you can imagine, can't you? You can imagine Wobble next week. Anyway, let's go through where we think it's going to be. Joel, we'll start with you. Who wins and by how many?
I just don't see Whitby not playing. I think Paul Wellens has seen something in him, and he does like him. And with his youth and speed and vigour, I think he's going to help them just get over the line. I think being at home to Wire, Wire being at home, should I say? Sorry, get myself clear. That's going to have an impact. So I only see it as a 1-8 win for Saints because they're not at home; they're away. However, had it been at home, it may have been a slightly different story.
Well, you got a bit bigger if Saints were at home.
Possibly, yeah, but just 1-8 because I think the crowd will just help Warrington keep it down. But it's just your injuries that are gonna make you struggle a little bit, I think, against them this week.
Well, of course, Saints have got their own injuries. We must say that in order to be, fair and right down the middle on this one. I think neither side. I think Saints probably in terms of personnel on the team sheet are busted in certain areas. Warrington, whilst they have a team sheet in certain areas, I think are busted. If that makes any sense. Steph, before I come to Greg, I'll go to you. Who wins and by how many?
I think I've said what I believe in terms of the squad selections and things like that. Given having watched Warrington at the weekend, George Williams is a huge miss for Warrington, but also Jimmy Harrison. I can't see him playing in this one. I just can't see it. If he does, that's going to be a massive boost for Warrington, and that could make a big difference. But also it's the squad select. Like I said before, the squad selection for Warrington. Danny Walker playing at 6, I don't think worked for Wire. I think it took a lot away from the 9 position, which is a big threat which Warrington pose. It's going to come down to who Burgess plays. I think it's going to be a really close game. It could be a golden point, but I'm based off what I've seen and the players that I expect to play in this one, I think Saints are just going to nudge it. So I've gone Saints.
Yeah,
one to 8.
absolutely. The members, they've gone the same way. The non-members have gone the same way. I'm going the same way. I'm going Saints 1-8. I think Warrington at the moment, it's not just the personnel, they just seem out of sorts as a team.
Yeah.
And when you see Sam Burgess in a post-match press conference looking as rattled as he did, he certainly was on a short fuse, let's put it that way. I think pressure is there. And, in some respects, having got 6 in a row, Saints could be the perfect team to play. Something tells me they want to settle a score, and this could be where that run stops as good as it's been. Greg, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's denying that it's a good Saints squad. They've got a lot of injuries, though. More and more injury news coming through this week. Batchelor's out. Robertson's going to be out. There's a few players missing there. I know you probably will disagree with me, Dave, but I'm surprised that Ollie Leyland isn't in that squad. I think, yes, he made a few mistakes against Wigan at Las Vegas. He didn't have Mark. There was no Mark Sneed in Mark Sneed in the Warrington squad.
He needs a carrot alongside him to complete that. Carry on.
He's a turnip, that fella. There's no Mark Sneed in that squad. I think, I know he's on loan out at Widnes, but I would have loved to have seen Burgess have a bit of faith in Ollie Leyland. Maybe put him with Sneed there to cajole him, to bring him along, to say to him, right, you do what you do best and I'll control the game. I would love to have seen that. And that's where I was a bit disappointed that Leyland wasn't in the squad this week. I think he may well go for Ratchford in the halves with Sneed and put Walker back at number 9. When Walker went back to 9 and Curry went at number 7 against Lee, we looked more balanced. We looked stronger. I'm going to go left field here, and I'm going to go wire 9-17. I've just got one of those feelings, and I don't get them often with Warrington. We just seem to have that hoodoo over them, and I will eat humble pie. I will take the pelters. I will take all the pelters that I'm going to get if Saints win. But I just get the feeling that we've got a bit of a thing over Saints at this moment in time. We've played him 3 times in the first 9 weeks. You know what I mean? The memories are still raw for Saints. 9-17 wire.
Right, okie dokie. So that's where we see
completely dismissed there, Dave.
No, mate. Everybody's got a view. I think it's a bold one, I have to say. Craig Forth, he did say we'll get more games, so it's likely that he's going to be in. Jono, I think we've answered that in terms of does Sam stick with Walker or does he put the kid in? He will not play. He Ewan Irving. He just won't.
He'll play Ratchford before he plays.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, as somebody who commentates on the and the academy. Irwin not quite ready. It would be wrong to do so. He's not where Leon Hayes was at when Hazy got put in there. I think that just doesn't happen. He's going to be a player, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a bit too early. But hey, I could be wrong when I say that. Who knows? Dawn Baker, good evening to you. Dawn's with us. He needs to drop Sailor, put Lomax in with Whitbit and Wellesby back to fullback. Exactly what we were discussing. So that's where Dawn sees it. Interesting. Obviously, Lewis Murphy's a big bonus for them. Right, let's go into this. Norway will Watchford play with Swede. Love it. Norway will. That's a line in it. Good effort, lad. All right, Kev Worrell. Let's go into it. Kev Worrell 1-8 the wire. Nicola Burtonwood 1-8 the wire. David Carroll 1-8 the wire. Jono 1-8 the wire. I love for Warrington. I'm amazed. Dawn Baker Saints 1-8. Phil Webster 1-8. Aidan Simpson Saints 1-8. Craig's gone the same way. Steve Cartledge 9-17 to Saints, as does Alex Sharp. So that's really interesting. And Craig Forth agrees that if Warrington win this, it will be a Saints special for Give Your Head a Wobble, possibly, is what I would say on that one. Right, let's go to a really, really interesting game. Friday, 8 o'clock. Leeds Rhinos taking on Hull KR. I think this is a belter. This, again, Leeds in reasonable form. We'd have to say that. You know, they're a bit up and down. They're certainly looking impressive when they're going up against substandard opposition. Great win against Wigan, don't get me wrong. But again, there's still a few questions that I think they have to ask, albeit, boys, we've got to give it one more. That pass from James McDonnell. Oh, yes, that's what we're talking about, son. If he does that on Friday night, I'll be rolling around the city. I'll be spilling me beer. Go on, James, lad. Stunning skills. Outstanding. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back into it. Joel, we'll come to you first. As your top right. This is a good, I mean, you saw Leeds at close quarters at the weekend. Hull KR to the Rhinos. Your thoughts?
It's so hard to predict Leeds this year because they have really good games, and then some games where they just look like they're just dropping. And when I say dropping, I mean there just doesn't seem to be the cohesion that you would think that would be when you look at them the previous week. You know, against Huddersfield, they look good, but you play Huddersfield. You know, it's not hard to play good against Huddersfield. I think Halifax Panthers have put 50 past Huddersfield right now, so I don't think that's a good barometer.
Halifax Panthers as well, still leading in the Championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know it's not a good barometer to go by. Though they are very good, I'll give it to them. When they're playing well, they're playing really well. But then you look at KR and they've just got everything going for them. I just don't see them losing a game like this. When KR want to defend, you just can't score past them. You know, tell me many clubs that can score much more than 10 or 20 past KR. It's not happening. So on that basis, I have gone KR 9-17. And that's just purely on form and who they've got at their disposal. I think it doesn't help Leeds when you've got Frawley playing in the halves, because even some of the Leeds fans don't like Frawley. So, you know, I've never been impressed with him. I think I've made that very clear. And he takes out some of the spark in the attack. And yes, okay, I know he scored a few times this year, but it doesn't mean anything. He's taken out some of the spark that they've got at Leeds. And I think for that reason they're gonna struggle. Whereas KR's got every strike and every bit of defence in them, and it's just a difficult one to go against. So it's not anything bad against Leeds. It's just KR are that good.
They are. Let's go to the Matt Frawley fan club himself, Mr. Sale. We know he likes a bit of Frawley, especially on a try-building bet. Go on then, Steph. Have you seen in the Wigan performance a Leeds team? Because let's be fair, there's very little between Wigan and KR, and of course Wigan beat KR. So have you seen enough in the Wigan performance that Leeds put on to suggest that if they fire, they have got enough to trouble KR?
I think if they had Brodie Croft in the team, then yeah. But I don't think he's included, is he?
We haven't got the team still tomorrow, mate.
Right. Well, I don't think Croft will be playing in this game. I might be wrong completely on that one. I think we saw enough in the Huddersfield game to show that if OKR turn up and they defend like they did when they played Lee at home and the Hull FC games, if they turn up with that attitude, Leeds won't be able to live with them. It's as simple as that. Hull KR have got a better team. But Leeds are well capable of putting some shock performances in. They're very much in the Lee mould, and a few other teams in Super League where they put in some very good performances, but they've also put in some average ones, but still got the wins. If OKR turn up in this game, they should win it easily. It's as simple as that for me. They've just got a better team. I'm going to go KR
9-17. Greg, does last week matter? KR, obviously, a stern challenge by FC. I would dare say more competitive game. Sorry, Joel, but you know I think it was a much tougher game for KR than perhaps it was for Leeds. So Leeds may be fresher again going back for this. Could they, if they have their game on, challenge the KR for this one?
I'm not saying that it was obviously clearly more competitive because of what was at stake in the whole derby, but Leeds made that game more competitive than it should have been, really. And I think that could be very well a wake-up call for Leeds. I think I said on the other day that I think they maybe took that game for granted against Huddersfield, and that's no disrespect to Huddersfield, Joel, in any way, shape, or form. And Huddersfield again put up a good performance for the first part of the game, and as has been the case most of the season, fell away in the second half a lot. So I think that might be a wake-up call for Leeds, and I think KR will probably have been beaten up a lot by that whole game. There'll be a lot of bruised bodies. Unfortunately, I think Leeds will put a good show of it together. But I'm going KR 9-17.
KR 9-17. Good man. Craig Forth sees it exactly the same way. Phil Webster's going as far as saying 18 plus to KR. Aidan Simpson sees a Leeds win 9-17. Interesting. Our newest member, Mr. Messer, he's gone KR 18 plus. Carl's on the wrong show. He's backing the Canterbury Bulldogs to be winning their game in the NRL 18 plus this weekend. We're doing Super League here, Carl, just to let you know. Just to let you know, my friend. Yeah, so back into it. John OKR 9-17, Carl Shaw Leeds 1-8, Nicola Burton will KR 9-17. So a lot of KR missing both number one wingers, still a win though for the Rovers 1-8. That's interesting. So Penthorne saying that no Burgess and no Davis. That's a bit of one. Out till April.
Burgess injured.
By the sounds of it, bit of an inside track on that. Yeah, a bit of love. Aidan Simpson, like I say, Leeds 9-17. So yeah, interesting. But I'm with you. I'm going to go KR 9-17. It's hard not to back KR at the moment. I think a lot would need to happen to not make me back KR at the moment. But there you go. It'll be a very interesting game indeed. Dawn Kirby's telling us that Burgess failed his HIA and Tom Davies dislocated his shoulder, but it's okay. So obviously going to rest him this week. Well done, Miss Kirby. Kirby, you're an absolute legend. That's what we like to see. Yeah, the roving reporter this evening that is Dawn Kirby. What a legend. And she'll be joining us at the Challenge Cup final as well. Right, let's get to the next game, of course, featuring Joel's beloved Huddersfield Giants. Saturday, 3 o'clock. Fantastic fare on a Saturday afternoon. Castleford Tigers roll into town. And for me, Greg, I'm going to stick with you on this one, and then we'll go around the other way. I think this is a must-win for Huddersfield. I think they've got enough to win it. I think, I genuinely do. At home, they're not playing drastically bad. There's bits in there to be happy about if you're Huddersfield, but if they don't win this, you just wonder where that first win's coming from. That said, Cass will have Tom Amon. So over to you, Greg.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for Huddersfield is they need to put an 80-minute performance together. I'm sure Joe will agree with that. They've played really, really well in parts of games and not kept it up. Whether that's through injuries, whether that's through, teams getting on top, whatever that is. And I think it's important for them to try and get that 80-minute performance. Can they do that this weekend? I'm not so sure because Castleford, again, the Amon factor will be a big factor. I think Castleford will be stinging from the weekend. And I'm sorry, Joel. Well, they might be dancing in the streets of Huddersfield. I don't know with this one. But I just see Castleford 9-17 on this one.
9-17.
I think Huddersfield are just struggling to put a complete performance together for whatever reason.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. Craig saying in the chat, Amon versus Burgess. Yeah, that could be a tasty little collision.
Is Burgess injured? Tom Burgess,
no. Is he injured? Joel, I'm not heard he's injured.
No, he's okay.
I heard a little rumour that he might not play, but I might be wrong.
Right, Steph, over to you. Huddersfield cast, mate. What are your thoughts?
No, I'm pretty much on the same boat as what Reggie's going with there. I think the problem with Huddersfield is it's not the starting team. It's the players that come in off the bench and the young lads, and that's always been the issue so far this season. Really, it's a decimated squad, and I think Castleford are also improving as well, which is the other big concern for me from a Huddersfield point of view. Obviously, with the 2 loan signings, Amon coming in. Obviously, it's Amon's first week, so he's going to take a little bit of time just to get into it as well. But I do think Huddersfield will be really competitive in this one. I think this could be a really close game. So I think I've gone Castleford, but only just. And I think it's going to be another probably heartbreaker for you, Joel. Unfortunately, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people going the way of Cass. Andy Baby Cass 1-8. Tom, Mr. Massa, I think I'm hoping I'm saying that right. 1-8 Cass. Carl Shaw 1-8. Don Kirby Cass 1-8. Carl going Cass 18 plus. That's a big call. Jacob Dale Cass 18 plus. Joel, Bill Leyland, is he still with you and is he likely to feature?
He's with us, but no, he's out. He's out. He's not good. Yeah. He's
Over you, mate. Your thoughts on your team?
Can I just say, Craig Forth, what a legend. He's backed me and Huddersfield week on week. I've not mentioned it, but he's had a lot of faith in Huddersfield. So, Craig, thank you.
It's not faith, it's not faith, it's sympathy, but carry on.
Well,
it's alcohol, mate. It's alcohol.
Listen,
faith.
you take what you can get. And that's all I'm getting right now. So I'm happy with that. So, Craig, thank you. Right. Let's just throw injuries out the window. We're sick of saying it every single week.
Yeah.
We are now getting used to playing with injured players, without players through injury. So I'm hoping, from what I have seen, that we're going to put up a fight. I know we're not going to win, but I have gone Tigers 1-8, and that's with the hope of us being able to just put in a bit of effort in defence, trying to string it from not a 40-minute or a 30-minute game to, can we at least play them for 60 minutes? We do need to put an 80-minute performance in, but it's not going to happen just yet. So if we play a 60-minute game, I'll be happy, because that's progress for us. There's some young players who are getting some great experience, showing some real talent in us youths. They've just not got the experience again that Cass will have, and that's what will do it for them. We're going to start getting some players back, hopefully, at Magic, but that's not going to be a win then, I don't think, either, because it's going to take another couple of weeks for him to gel, because it's been so long. So I'm thinking another 4 or 5 weeks at least until we get his first win. If it happens, it'll be a miracle. I'll take it, but I just don't see it happening. But yeah, in all, Tigers 1-8.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. And Mr. Forth is saying that you're welcome. Outstanding. Nothing like a bit of Moana on Super League Raw, is there? Let's be fair. He's got the doll. But anyway, that's by the by. We move on. Well, his castle, he's got his Disney princesses. It's great.
He's got the dress as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He's there now, doing it. He's painted his tats on. He's running around the room as if he's the Rock. He's enjoyed himself. Good lad. I'm watching Super League Raw.
Leave my mate alone.
I'll get that image out of my head now.
He's good man, Mr. Wolf. He knows I'm pulling his leg. Right, okay. I don't really want to dwell too much on this one. I'm very conscious of time. Salford hosting Lee Leopards this weekend at the Salford Community Stadium. Of course, well beaten against Catalan. Lee getting over the line against Warrington, of course, last week. I'm going to start with Steph to just set the tone, and then maybe we can get on with this pretty quickly. Any injury concerns, and do you see any other than an 18+ win?
Well, I think the biggest injury concern is Armstrong, isn't it? For Lee, obviously going off against Warrington, that's the big worry. I expect Lee to potentially rest anybody who's got any niggles in this one, but also I think they will put up the most competitive team we can, but also reserving them players who are potentially needing a bit of a rest. Talk about the new signing. Joffa, I'm going to call him because I can't pronounce his surname yet properly. I don't see us playing him against Salford. I'd like to think it's Lee 18+.
And you're going Lee 18+?
I'm
going 18+. Joel?
Yeah, 18+.
Greg?
Yeah, I don't think Offengawi will play.
Yeah.
Is it Parpy suspended for this one?
Pappy is.
So Dwyer will probably come back in, won't he?
Yeah, Armstrong.
Don't make a difference.
I would have thought. You know, shocks happen in rugby league. Lee 18 plus.
Yeah, 18 plus. Everybody in the chat going Lee 18 plus. And Craig Forth says that I have a camera in his room. I do indeed. The last time I saw Budgie being
We all have, Craig.
The last time I saw Budgie being smuggled like that, it was Tweety Pie and it was Sylvester. But anyway, that's by the by. We move swiftly on. One for the kids. See, all the kids now. Who's Tweety Pie? Who's Sylvester? Doesn't matter. Just smile, laugh, and we move on to the next game as the Catalan Dragons host. Wait, what a game! This could be a little bit. Steph says it every week. This could be the game of the round, and it could be. This could be the game of the round. And because I gave Steph his due, and we were very quick on Lee, we'll start with Steph because something tells me Steph's looking forward to this one on Saturday. Go on, Steph.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker, and I do think this could be very, very, very close. Two sides very evenly matched. Catalan, obviously, I think they're 5 from 6. Are they now in terms of their form?
In terms of form, mate, they're one of the form teams in the comp.
Yeah, absolutely, and one that will obviously show on the stat sheet when we do captain's run later in the week. Wakefield will obviously be really happy with that derby win over Castleford, but I think they'll also have a lot of things they want to fix up, and Powell won't be happy with that performance. So I expect Wakefield to go there really fired up for this one. I think it could be an absolute belter. There's some great matchups as well in terms of the forwards and also the backs on show in this one. I'm expecting fireworks at the Stade Brutus, but I've just gone Wakefield. I think Wakefield away from home. I know they picked up the first home victory against Cass, but they seem to play really, really well away. And I don't think Catalan are just there yet. So I'm expecting Wakefield to win.
1-8. Reggie, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Catalan have got a few players back this weekend. Whether they all play or whether they'll all start is we'll see. I think they finally worked out how to get the best out of Tommy Makinson. Excuse me, at the weekend. Albeit it was against Salford. I just get the feeling I'm with Steph. Wakey are away from home. They've played really, really well away from home, Wakey. There's no pressure on them. They play some really good rugby, Wakefield. They came back well against Castleford. I'm with Steph. I'm going Wakey 1-8.
Fair enough. I'm very conscious of the time, so we're going to start motoring now, boys. Non-members, where are we? Non-members, non-members 1-8 Waker, members 1-8 Catalan. Joel, what are you saying?
Very briefly, want to explain my predictions. So I've gone Catalan 9-17, and the reason being is threefold. Wakey have been absolutely immense. I'm not taking that away from them at all, but it's to go to south of France in a very hot weather. It's starting to get very hot over there now. Is that going to take a toll for them? They're going to play really well for about an hour, and for the last 20 minutes, they might struggle a little bit. So that's just something to be aware of. Second of all is because they've been on such a high, going across to somewhere where it might just mentally and physically have a bit of a toll on them, they might struggle. And they've been in England all this time. They've not been out of the country this year yet, and that may have an impact. So I've gone Catalan 9-17, but I may be very wrong.
Well, it's all about predictions, mate, and based on your league position, you could be. But anyway, that's by the by. Only mate, your form has got to turn sometime, my mate. Nicola Burtonwood 1-8 Catalan 9-17 says Massa, our new member 9-17. Dawn Baker's gone Dragons 1-8. Catalan's got 3 backs as Alex Sharp. I'm going to go Catalan Dragons 1-8. I think Catalan will be better for that run out against Salford, and I think they might just do this one, albeit I think Wakey will put up a very good showing indeed. Right, then we come on to this one. All bets are off, I think, on this one. Sunday, 3 o'clock. Fantastic way to end the weekend before final whistle, of course, on Sunday night. Members, please come and join the panel. We've not had many new faces. There's a lot of Team Talk members out there. Come and make your debut. Come and join us on the Final Whistle podcast, the recording this Sunday night, and of course be the star of the show on a Monday morning for people on their way to work. This should be a belter. We have literally got 10 minutes. We've got to fit in bet, Steph. So we're going to have to be quick. So be quick. Steph, I'll come to you first. FC, Wigan, where are we going?
Yeah, two very informed teams. Great performance by FC against KR. Wigan just showing what Wigan do against St Helens. Probably not where they would want to be, but I think they can get a lot better. We're keeping it short. Wigan 9-17
to Wigan. Joel, who are you going with?
I see a bit closer. Wigan 1-8. FC have been immense, but I think Wigan are going to average a little bit too much because Harry Smith's kicking was unreal. So I see a bit more of that this week.
Fantastic. Greg?
I think this is going to be an absolute classic. I hope the people of Hull fill that stadium again. I know the Wigan fans will be there en masse. Hull have got the sign over Wigan at this moment in time, and I'm going Hull 1-8.
Ooh, there you go.
I'm putting it out there, and I know I was getting pelters on the other day. People saying I don't like Wigan. Nothing to do with that.
No, you don't like Wigan.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I've got some very, very good friends who are Wigan fans. But the reason I've gone Hull is they've got the hoodoo over Wigan at this moment in time. And I just get that feeling, another one of those feelings I had for the Warrington Saints game. Warrington have got the same thing over Saints at the minute. Hull, that comeback in the Challenge Cup was magnificent.
Exceptional.
That's in Wigan's head. And it doesn't often happen to Wigan, but it's in Wigan's head. And I think Hull 1-8.
Yeah, going on about, of course, we discussed that at length in Round Unpack. Go and have a quick look at that. Not much love in the chat for Hull FC. Most going the way of Wigan. Carl going Wigan by 50th. No, I don't see that, Carl. I'm sorry. John O, 9-17 Wigan. Craig 4th, 9-17 Wigan. So, yeah, a lot of love for Wigan in the chat. And people are now probably thinking, who are these mates that Greg's got in Wigan? Let me tell you now, he travels a long way to his favourite baker to get his favourite meat and potato. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, indeed. Right, there you go. So that's how we see it. I've seen it Wigan 9-17. The members have seen it Wigan 9-17. And the non-members have seen it Wigan 1-8. Just enough time to do this.
Are you sick and tired of winning your bets every week? Want to contribute to the bookies' Christmas party? The bets to ignore when predicting the score. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Bet Steph.
Well, just to close, quote Alex Sharp there, we don't need Bet Steph. He never gets any right. I think you're missing the point here, Paul. So yeah, but to start this one off, I have got a bit left field with this one. Two bets not handicapped. So I've just gone for 8 right winners. So yes, we have got a bit different this week. I've gone for a St Helens 8 right win, 2.2, which I think is pretty decent value on that one. Hull KR only minus 2.5 against Leeds. I think that's a fantastic value bet, given the form, and I get it's Leeds at home, but we'll see on that one. Castleford to get the home win, again no handicap, 2.2. Wakefield to win at Catalan, 3.2. I think that's massive in terms of recent form and all that kind of thing. They've really downplayed Wakefield's chances there, I think. So 3.2 I think is massive value. And I've also gone Wigan minus 10.5. I think this one probably could come back to bite me, but I do think Wigan are good enough to overcome that 10.5 handicap. So a massive fivefold to give 56.44 to 1 odds in this week's.
Wow. There you go. Bit of value in there again, Mr. Sale. I think your first win is on its way. I have to say, some big value. But yeah, bet a pound, perhaps lose a pound, but it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? But yeah, I think the Hull KR is very generous, and that's very, very generous. Yeah, I think there's some value in there, Mr. Sale. Very good indeed. We'll keep a very close eye on those, as you would expect. Look, what a great evening! It comes, it goes. Dare I say, it's the fastest 2 hours of the week, every week. We've loved your company in the chat. We really have. You've still got your chance. 10 entries for 10 quid. The Challenge Cup tickets. There's the QR code. Maybe get over there now and secure your entries. To the members, of course, you automatically are involved. But if you can't go to the Challenge Cup final, can you please drop me a line on info@superleagueraw.com. That's info@superleagueraw.com, or in the WhatsApp group. By all means, use the announcement page for that, because it'll get lost in the debates and I won't be able to see it. The last thing I'd want is for us to do a live draw next week and the winner not saying they can't go. So if you're a member, of course, it's your privilege. It's part of your membership. You get your automatic inclusion. But if you can't go, then please, let me know so we can take you out of that draw. And of course, it just makes things easier our end. But hopefully, if I hear nothing from nobody, everybody will be in. £10 for 10 entries. There's the QR code. Get over to our website. You could be at Club Wembley with all of us here at Super League Raw, and of course, some wonderful people, and of course, young Alfie as well. It'll be a privilege to be in his company with his dad on the day. Boys, what a night. Another brilliant night of Rugby League chat. Do you fancy doing it all again next week?
Go on then.
Go on, man.
Why that was a great cure for hay fever that tonight.
Was it?
I was struggling early doors, but
yeah,
it certainly cured me.
Happy days. So yeah, bit of time left. So let me just run through what we've gone through in terms of prize draws. First of all, if you're not a member, why aren't you a member? There's your QR code. Become a member. Tom Messer has tonight. He's a Team Talk member. He might be making his debut on the Final Whistle podcast this Sunday, and he's a Lafer. So already he's in favour with the white hooded man, the man that of course attracts people with his white hoodie, Mr. Sale. He'll be delighted to have another Lafer in the posse. So you've got tickets for Warrington against Saints. If you can go, then again, drop us a line on info@superleagueraw.com. We'll get you in the draw on that, and we'll notify you. There is a poll on WhatsApp. Of course, we've got the quiz with Sam Burgess, the entire Warrington squad, 17th of June. We're going to be taking 4 of you to that. And of course, you've got the chance of coming to the Challenge Cup final as well by doing that QR code. That is another brilliant Super League Raw Weekly in the bag. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for your love, support, and your company this evening. Join us next week. Don't forget, we've got Captain's Run, 6 p.m. for members on Thursday. That's there. In the sheds for the last round, they'll be completed tomorrow. They'll be going out, of course, in the shed throughout the weekend. We'll be back for the Final Whistle, and we'll be back for round unpack. Loads coming up for you members in the week ahead. But, of course, we'll be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. because you cannot beat a bit of weekly. Here's the top performers. Bye for now.
Here are your top performers after 8 rounds of the Betfred Super League. The top try scorer out on his own now is Jay Field of the Wigan Warriors with 10, a beauty against the Saints. The most try assists have come from St Helens Jack Wellsby. He's got 12. Whilst the most meters made are once more Matt Duffy of the Warrington Wolves with 1,347. The most clean breaks have come from Smoking Joe Burgess of Hull KR. He's got 9. Whilst the top tackler is Mike Meakin of the Wakefield Trinity, 328. The most tackle busts have come from Jack Wellsby with 49. Whilst the most hard meters made down the middle is his prop forward, Alex Wormsley, 1,137. The most offloads have come from Big Herman SASA, he's got 20. Whilst the most goals continue to come from the boot of Mark Percival of St Helens with 26. These are your top performers after 8 rounds of the Betfred Super League.